It is finally time for the final verdict, for the honest review on Neon Vision I. To nobody's surprise, she is still a T0 character even after further testing. I don't think we need to put her in T1. For some situations, I could agree with some people, saying on some stages she's going to be closer to Mihara than closer to the most meta characters. But to me, so far, everyone we've put at her, she's been a fantastic character, carrying my ass. That said, let's talk a little bit about her, how to properly build her, some team compositions, how she's faring on PvE content, raids right now, or it's still day 1/2 for solo raid, but still raids, campaign, power, and a little bit of everything else. Before we start, hello the internet, welcome back to the Waifus. I'm Sefhi, your favorite gambling addict, and today's topic, Neon Vision I, final verdict, honest review, whatever it is, right? I only got a copy of her. I'm not going for dupes because I've gone too deep into the Annie's banner. I will ticket the last 2 copies of Annie's last day, but I'm waiting for last day. I got 1 yesterday with singles. I'll just wait for last day to ticket those last 2 copies for Core 7. I don't want a ticket just in case we get lucky and we get 1 for free with those free singles, right? But we can stop finally pulling for Annie's and save the gems for the next planet. I'm fucking broke, bro. That's it. Neon, what's going on with her? Sefhi, where is she on the tier list? And you guys have everything on the website already updated as usual. She is obviously a T0 character. She will remain in there. She's competing with all of the strongest damage dealers in the game. If we talk about B3s, no problem. She is even out damaging my Rappi on neutral. But this depends on the setup. This depends on a lot of different factors, right? We cannot just say, oh yeah, she's stronger than Rappi. Oh yeah, she's stronger than Snow White. Or stronger than Vitalio. Whatever it is. Because it always will depend on your account investment, team compositions, etc. But even when we're putting a team that benefit both of them with something like Annie's Start, which will benefit, any rocket launcher in the game, and Rappi because of the explosion. That said, for PvE content, before we go into her build, I've had no problems with her on anything. First of all, raid, everyone is using her on Team 1, on Team 2. The reason you might see a lot of people using her on Team 2 instead of Team 1, it's simply because a lot of people have the Core 7 Cindy fully invested. So for them, it's better to use her in there, right? Like they have a super beefy Cindy, so they want to be putting her with Crown. But people are putting her on Team 1, Team 2, just based on that investment they have, right? So that's pretty normal. For campaign and even tower, if you want to be talking on stages with enemies, she doesn't have a clear as good as Snow White Heavy Arms. Or her burst generation, for example, for Snow White Heavy Arms is stupid, right? Like Snow White goes from one burst to the other literally in one shot if you time it properly. But even then, she has no problem on stages with a lot of ads to be able to clear with whatever other B3 you have. I will say that's like on her weaker side, AoE clear, but she still has no issues, right? Her damage is great for single target and also for clearing enemies. 0 issues. The only thing to remember, like I said on my previous video, is to actually put her on your first rotation so she can use her firepower, right? Her super firepower, and have an extra one at the end of the battle, assuming it's a 3-minute fight. That's like the only thing to remember, so she has enough time for a third one. Outside of that, honestly, her damage is stupid, like actually stupid. I don't want to clear this, I want to do this on stream later. We've been pushing a little bit of tower, see how far we can get. We finally got to 1300. So for tower, she is gonna be the staple for Missilis because Missilis also has like a lot of issues when it comes to B3s in tower specifically. If we're talking about that, there is not that many that you're gonna be like, oh yeah, let me actually go run that. You have Mihara, you have Ain, and then the rest, it heavily depends on what type of a stage you were in. You can use Quincy and Elec, but only on water stages. You could cope a little bit with Laplace and Julia. Laplace more than Julia. You could cope with Laplace if you have her invested from day 1. It's a nice DPS. And then Ain as well. It's a pretty good one, even on neutral. But outside of that, you didn't have like a proper carry. Mihara falls short on clearing normal waves of enemies. So Neon now can help with that, having better burst generation, having even better damage depending on the situation. For bosses, however, Mihara is still gold. So if you have both of them, you will be running both of them. I think the biggest problem Missilis has now is not even B3s, it's gonna be actual supports, because they are still using schoolgirls. You only have Naga, or if you want to be running Trina, right? Something like that. Yeah, and Trina is kind of XD, because it's only for like those electro characters. Without electric characters, she only gives some attack damage, I believe. And same for B1s. It's tough if you're running Drake or just Litter and Tia, right? There is like literally nothing else. That said, however, she's performing really good. Let's talk a little bit about how to properly build her and if anything has changed from the day one build we were talking about. When it comes to her skill recommendations, nothing changes. I still think this is a 10-10-10 character, but if you are low on resources, I feel you can leave a skill 2 at level 7 and there is no problem. I think the burst you still want to take to 10, like almost on any situation. It's more damage and this is a character you want to be bursting with. But the skill 2 you could be leaving at level 7 and it would still be fine. So a skill 2 at level 7 is giving you a 69% attack right here on maximum firepower, which is nice, right? And a 30 extra percent on super firepower. At level 10 it goes to 80%, but only to 35 in here. So it's nice for the extra attack, but I feel this at level 7 can still work no problem if you are low on resources and you want to save for something else or you are building multiple characters. Same thing applies for the burst. I feel the burst you do want to be taking to level 10 because it's on super firepower, you're getting a 41% attack damage, and then every single burst, you're getting 81% extra attack damage. At level 10, however, this 41 doesn't increase too much, it's only 45, but the second one, from 81, it goes all the way to 110%, and that's a huge increase in damage output that will help you if you're using it as one of your main characters. Like I said, if you're low on resources, I feel a 10-7-7 can work, but you want to be working at least towards a 10-7-10. When it comes to her build for cubes and for gear, nothing changes here from what we talked on day one. When it comes to cube, obviously, we're gonna start with gear first. When it comes to gear, the basic beach build, you want to be going for 4 elemental, 4 attack, 3 charge speed, and then 1 max ammo. Now, charge speed. This is like Liberalio, the more you give her, the better. People are aiming for 3 lines and getting around 10% if you can. And then some people, instead of going with attack, are going with crit damage. Now, crit damage. This is because we're starting to get to a point where our buffers are giving a lot of attack, plus these units themselves buff a lot of self-attack. So people are starting to go a little bit into crit, but that's mostly for people who are either using teams with Miranda and only for specific characters like Neon, for Snow White teams, for your Ain or your Mihara, things like that, that they can take advantage of. I feel if you're not try-harding and min-maxing in raids, you go for 4 elemental, 4 attack, 3 charge speed, 1 max ammo, nothing else. If you can, do reroll this max ammo line to be at least like a blue line if you can, like an 80% plus. I've been kind of unlucky with that, and I don't know if I want to be using too many rocks, to be fair, on her. I think I want to start saving for whatever next character we are getting. So I don't think I will be re-rolling. Nice, absolutely nothing changed. Wars on both of them. Nice. So nothing else changed in there. That's the same build we were recommending day one. When it comes to the cube, same old cubes. You use your resilience as the best cube on a slot for her. If you have that blue/black max ammo line, you could be going for Bastion, but I still feel resilience will be better. And then if you have it leveled up for bosses and for raids, you could run Distraction. Same thing applies for, Rapture and True Damage for the characters who can take advantage of that. It's only when you can take advantage of it, they are good cubes. But as a general rule of thumb, you will be running always Resilience or Bastion on all of your characters. You could cope with Adjutant and the charge speed in here, but it's cope. First of all, most people don't have this leveled up high enough, right? And then second, even at level 8 right now, it's only at 2.12%. So it's not gonna help as much because you are still having a slow reload. You might still be lacking max ammunition. So I think it's a detriment rather than a good cube. But again, depending on your lines and on your current account investment, you could as well use that one. And that's basically everything for both the cube, the gear, the skills. There is no solo raid usage yet. This will be updated after this solo raid, and we'll make our usual video going over the meta, what was used, and any possible changes. But nothing else has been changed on the tier list. The only other change was Naga. I already said this. I moved her down to T3. It was kind of time. Tia and Naga sadly has a lot of usage. You can still use Naga. As a standalone B2, she's good, but we just don't see them as often as it used to be. Nothing else has been changed yet. I do want to be making some other changes sooner or later when it comes to a lot of the characters on T0 to T2 for the most part. They are the ones that, you know, will be changing more depending on the current meta and the current usage, and there is a lot of them that could be moved up or down. For now, I think it's fine. I think it's a nice reference and it's a nice tier list. Obviously, any feedback you guys have, always leave it in the comments down below, and we check to see if it's worth changing anything, or at least note it down for whenever we do our big revamps every 4 to 6 months, which is when we usually go and change a lot of things, right? That's it, enough japping, enough ranting. Neon Vision Eye is a fantastic character that I would recommend you guys actually grab a copy if you can. If you are interested in damage number comparisons, we've shown plenty of them already on previous videos, so I don't think that there was a need to be sharing the same ones again in here. Previous video, you guys have comparisons on every single anomaly interception, on bosses, on tower, and also on the union range with my account, Risa and Tarsis. So enough jumping, enough ranting. We are live every single day. As usual, links in the description. Good luck with your pool, dinner rates, and I'll see you on the next one.